Guys, how's it going? So today we are going to be taking a look at some of my favorite winter sleeping bags. So not too long ago I did a video on the quote unquote best sleeping bags for spring through fall, as well as covering a good number of blankets like woobies and things that are suitable for that temperature range. And towards the end of last winter, I done a video on a budget winter sleep system, so I will make sure to link to both of those videos at the top of the video description. That way you can check those out, because a lot of the sleeping bags or blankets that I used in that one video could be put together to increase the insulation value, and you could use those alone together, use as winter sleeping systems, or you could even take some of those bags or blankets and throw them in some of these to really boost and get you down into those really low temperatures. Now, some of these are going to be bags that some of you guys are very familiar with. That's why I'm going to take and start with this one. This is the black intermediate bag that comes with the military modular sleep system, or the U.S. modular sleep system. This thing's extremely popular for a good reason. These used to be really cheap, but you can still get these things for well under $100. I typically see these running in like the $70 range. And the reason this is not in the compression sack is because it's being used to house another one. But in case you're not familiar, just a quick rundown. So yeah, this goes in the military modular sleep system. It's got your quick open zippers, which I'm a huge fan of. And I'm not going to be giving precise temperature ratings for some of these. Based off of my own personal experience, anything like around like 25 to 32 degrees, you're perfectly fine just getting in this thing in your underwear. Nothing else needed. If you're in a bivvy, you can push this thing well into like the 20-degree mark. If you start putting thermals and things like that on, then you can go even lower. But I've had this one and the patrol bag and the Gore-Tex bivvy for quite a while. When I bought the whole system, I think I paid $105 for it. I think now the system is going for, over $200 as a complete system. But anyways, that bag right there is one that is, tried and true. A lot of people in the bushcraft and camping community really, really like it. So these next two bags have been on hangers. That's why they are out of their compression bag, and they are down sleeping bags. I never like to store those in the compression sacks. A lot of the synthetics I'll store in their compression sack just completely uncompressed if the bag isn't too small and constricting, because a lot of these modern, especially the military oriented bags, their synthetic feel can pretty much bounce back. Like it would take many years of being stored in a compressed environment, from my experience and what I've seen, for them to start to degrade and not hold their insulation value. So it's not as big of a deal. But regardless, any sleeping bag you have, you do not want to store in its maximum compressed volume size, because that will just wear down your insulation a lot quicker, and the sleeping bag won't perform as it is intended to. So this right here is a Zubelves down sleeping bag. I really like this thing, and this is well within the budget range of down sleeping bags. So this thing's comfort rating, I don't know, I can't remember if this one has it on the inside of the bag or on its, I think it might be on the compression sack. Yeah, so this thing's comfort range is 30 degrees Fahrenheit. Its limit is 10 degrees Fahrenheit, and I have pushed this thing under 30 degrees. I've had this in let's see, plenty of videos. If you want to go back and search and find it, feel free. But I know I've had this in the low 20s and been completely comfortable with just like a synthetic long sleeve shirt on and just regular underwear and socks. This thing is actually really, really good. I think this one's still coming in at like $99, so right at $100. It's got hydrophobic down in it. Absolutely just stellar down sleeping bag. And I do have another one. I think they only have two, or at least two, that's listed on Amazon. I have their envelope style down sleeping bag, which I think is its range is between like 32 and 50 degrees. It's really good for like that fall and winter transition period. I just didn't bring it out because we've already got, I think, like 8 sleeping bags here to look at. And I cover the transition type of bags in that spring, summer, and fall sleeping bag video. And something that's not a huge deal, but is kind of nice, is you do have this orange accented zipper. So now, like with their military bags, they tend to have the quick open, quick get out, escape style zippers. Anytime you have a down bag, or most of your just regular camping sleeping bags, you're not going to have that. But at night, it's really nice to have this. So it's really easy to take and find, because it's such a bright orange, especially contrasted against this gray color. And then you do have a really bright orange interior. This bag right here didn't have any pockets. And oh yeah, the name of the model. I will have links to all of this stuff down in the video description as long as every single item is still available. That's why we're not going to talk about the prices of every single thing because they're going to be subject to change. But this is the Alplive or Alplive D1500. But it's got a really good neck baffle, a pretty, like, not an extreme zipper baffle, but like plenty good enough. I've not had any issues with any air, you know, wanting to, like, getting in through the zippers. And all in all, it's a really, really solid sleeping bag, and because it's down, it does compress really small. I primarily do carry synthetic bags because I'm not hiking 10 miles, like, you know, if you're going to do really long distance, and that's when you can start getting into some of those down sleeping bags. You know, a down sleeping bag can easily run you in, you know, 500 plus. I've seen some that are, you know, $900 plus as well. So, you know, $100 sleeping bag that is down lightweight, and coming in at $100, like this is a really, really solid option. Bring you in a little bit closer for this one now. This is a down sleeping bag that is definitely not lightweight, and it is in somewhat of a bitty bag. This is like a cotton, it's more of a protective bag. Like, I'm sure that would shed some light water. I've never had this particular one in a condition to where it could even get wet, but this right here would just really help protect your sleeping bag. This is a U.S. surplus mountain bag, an M1949 down sleeping bag. And boy, let me tell you, this thing is extremely warm. It might be old, but it is still extremely effective. I was lucky that this one that I got had, you know, been stored properly. It hadn't been stored compressed. Still has most all of its feathers. Like, this type of, you know, down bag with this material, you know, it is going to take and lose feathers over time. Like, you might even see one or two flying around right now. But it's a center zip bag. Again, not going to get into the temperature ratings. I'll try to remember to put a link to the information page on this bag because I've seen a good varying bit of information, but I'd be more than comfortable sleeping with this, sleeping in this thing in and around below freezing. You know, no problem at all. Again, it is heavy for a down bag. Like, at this point, you are, if you're talking about efficiency, you are way better off going with one of the modern synthetic bags over this particular down bag. But if you're looking for like a down bag at a good price, this thing, last time I looked, is averaging, depending on condition, anywhere between $50 and $100. Like this one right here, I really do forget what I paid for it. I think I paid $60 for it a good few years back. Most pages on eBay and stuff are selling good condition bags like this for, you know, around $70, $75. So if you really want a down bag that is, like, you know, it's built very well, like, you could do a lot of things with this that I wouldn't do with this particular bag right here, just because the materials are that old school, just sturdy but heavy materials. Now, again, this thing doesn't have any amazing features. It does have a quick open zipper on it, which, you know, I think that's just been standard for military bags since forever. And, like, I'm no historian, but I think this is probably one of the first center zip style bags that the U.S. military ever played around with, because I've only really come across center zip bags on, you know, the European bags. That is the mountain bag. That one out of the way. Okay. Now, here on the bottom, we've got one that definitely stands out because it is the only camouflage or pattern sleeping bag that that I have out of my whole collection. That's in the winter range, but it is part of this AK Max Rifleman Modular sleep system. It's really based off of the European style military sleep systems, where we have pretty much what you would call a 3-season sleeping bag that's center zip. This thing has a comfort range of kind of like 25 to 35 degrees. I've not got to use this one a ton, so this is the one that is still kind of up in the air as far as, you know, how I would recommend it. But I will say that the sleeping bag that is part of the sleep system that has like the built-in bug net, it is really solid, and this is made of the same materials. I'm just not for sure how well this thing will handle the lower temperatures. If it's anything like its partner bag, then the temperature range is should be fairly accurate. But again, just center zip, quick open. You know, you're not talking about, you ain't got any pockets or anything like that inside. You just slide into it and you get warm. But the one thing that is also kind of unique about this is the outer material essentially is its own bivy bag. So it is fairly breathable. Most of these I've only had a chance to do with this system and this other bag to do one-nighters in them. So they do handle moisture very well for at least that 24-hour period. And obviously they'd have a chance to dry out a bit whenever you're not using them, if you want to take and open these things up and let them air out. But if you was using this for, you know, 1-2+ weeks, and you was just having to go straight from sleeping in it to packing it up, pulling it out, sleeping in it, packing it up, then that would be the only potential concern. But it does shed water very, very well. And it feels like with all these sleeping bags, you tend to get a little bit of extra insulation in and around your foot area, which for me is needed. My feet just tend to get kind of cold, or I have to rock with the wool socks for the majority of the time. It doesn't have like a double reinforced bottom, nothing like that, just same material all the way around. But for anybody that is looking for a camouflage sleep system that also kind of has its own integrated breathable bivy type of system for the outer material, I think this is actually a pretty solid option. And so far it seems to be at a pretty fair price if you was going to try to buy something, you know, similar, especially if it's something overseas where a lot of this style of sleep system is made. And the whole thing can compress relatively small. It's got a bag that's identical to the United States modular sleep system bag, but you can compress it down. Again, you know, the trade-off there with the synthetic materials, having a heavily water repellent outer shell and stuff like that, is it is on the heavier side. Like, it's not lightweight at all, but a decent bag nonetheless. So here's the bag that belongs to the MSS sleep system, and like here's that rifleman sleeping bag, so you can see it's the same design. But now in this, this is the sleeping bag that we covered in that budget winter sleep system video. This is the British medium weight or intermediate sleeping bag. As you can see, it's the same design. Like these things right here are pretty much patterned exactly the same. This was just camouflage. Now this one has a much lighter material for its shell. This one's supposed to be water repellent, and like I'm sure I'm not going to do it because I'm on a tarp, but if I poured this on there it would just bead off. But this is not something that you would want to sit out in the rain. Could probably handle a light dust and a snow, no problem, but you'd still want to take and combine this with the bivy bag. And this is one that I got from Go Army. Whenever, like, these things right here just at a phenomenal price. Like now, because of tariffs, it's like, it might not be ideal to get one of these if you're in the United States now, but eventually tariffs should go away, all that type of stuff. And this is just, again, this is just a phenomenal bag. So yeah, quick open zippers. I got the large so that I could put just some extra clothing, gear and stuff in there and just have more room to move around. I am 5'10", 150 pounds even, so the regular medium size would be fine. But this one does have some cool features. So on each side of your body you have these large mesh pockets where you can take and store anything that you want to have warm in the morning, or you want to kind of help if it's a little bit damp, you can put it there and your body heat will help kind of dry it out overnight. And again, it will also take and be warm. With a lot of my sleeping bags, what I tend to do is take any extra clothing or items that I have and bundle them up and put them down at my foot area. One, because they will be in the sleeping bag, and they'll be about body temperature, and you can just grab them, slide them on the sleeping bag. That's the other thing about the large, you have more room to move around, so it's easier to get dressed and put clothing on inside of the sleeping bag. But with this, I've just used it so far to take and put headlamp, gloves, socks, anything like that. And if you're wondering about like these tie-out points, that's to where you can integrate the lightweight sleeping bag for the complete sleep system and all of that type of stuff, which is relevant for us right now. I do not have the lightweight bag, but I would like to add that to the collection, because then again you can combine the two together and you could go to some extremely low temperatures that we don't even get around here. I mean, sometimes we'll dip below zero with wind chill value. We rarely ever dip into single digits for a consistent amount of time. And the center zips are really nice. I kind of wish that more summer weight sleeping bags and stuff had center zips, because I feel like it's easier to take and vent body heat and stuff when you don't need it. You know, nice head area. Just 2 thumbs up for that bag right there. Okay, now let's take a look at a sleeping bag I almost guarantee a lot of you guys have probably never heard of or seen before. So this is a wool insulated sleeping bag. Now I've used this thing maybe 3 times, and there's videos of me using it. I believe I used it in a fairly popular video of mine, one I've done with the Haven tent, where like that night it got down to like right at 0 degrees with wind chill. So this is a 20 degree lightweight wool sleeping bag in not a compression sack but a stuff sack. So this is like an all-natural material sleeping bag, and it's more of a quilt, honestly. But the outside material here is it's a cotton material that's been treated with beeswax, so it is fairly water repellent. But then we flip over to the inside, and we have a merino wool interior, so it's really soft. And then if you know much about merino wool, you'll know that, you know, it's moisture wicking, but the biggest thing is over a long duration of time, it just does not really hold on to body odor. Like you just have to really do some intense and nasty sweating to get merino wool to reek the way that synthetics and stuff do. But the most important thing is it's insulated with 100% wool batting, and you can do something with this sleeping bag that you can't really do effectively and efficiently with other sleeping bags, which is this one is designed for you to keep your head inside and breathe on the inside of the bag, so that you're breathing warm air into your bag and also taking in air that's already warm, thus allowing you to push this thing to lower temperatures. That night that it was like around 0 degrees wind chill, I was perfectly warm. Like I still had my pants on. I forget what I was wearing up top, but I think I had some type of top on, like a fleece maybe, and I was like perfectly comfortable. But that's why you have like this non-insulated like connecting material here, is because you're kind of intended to sleep with that either underneath you or kind of right off to your side. I kind of like it more off to my side just a wee bit. The only issues that I've had with this sleeping bag is somehow right here at the very top there's 2 spots that I had to take and sew, because I got a hole in them there. I really still do not know how I managed to do that. I've even took here at the foot end, like I slept in this thing with my boots on, and where my boots was at and rubbing, there's a socket. There's 2 socks in there. There you go. There's proof that I've used this thing a few times. But yeah, even where I had boots and stuff, there's no signs of wear and tear. I think I must have caught this on something, especially for these to be right above each other. So that's probably just some operator error there. Now the other thing too though is where I am, just my size, like I'm not a huge individual. This is the medium or the regular, and they do have a size larger. If you're any bigger than 5'10", make sure to get the larger, because this one right here is pretty much like, I feel like I'm max size for this particular model of the sleeping bag, to, you know, be comfortable and not be compressing things and still have a little bit of wiggle room. But a very neat and interesting bag. Now this does have a premium price tag on it, so that's something to keep in mind. But this is a sleeping bag that I do want to try to get out some more this winter, because I feel like this also regulates temperature very well. So even if it is above, like even if you're in like the low 40s, you could use this bag. Like I've slept with this bag actually more. I've used it 3 times out in the woods, but I've used this bag as a like a comforter on my own bed, and I sleep with my window open when it gets cold. So like I've spent more nights in this when it's probably like my room temperature is probably in the low 40s, and it still regulates temperature, so like I wasn't sweating in it. But pretty nifty bag. Now here we have got the Snugpak Tactical 3 sleeping bag, again in the compression sack, just fully maxed out volume for it, but it can compress just so small for the temperature range that you get with this. Because normally with sleeping bags, like whatever, a lot of sleeping bags tend to show their limit temperature. You know, like you'll buy a sleeping bag will be like, yeah, 32 degree sleeping bag, and it'll end up, it's actually like a 45 or 50 degree bag, comfort rating, and then, you know, they just have the limit listed. For this bag, its comfort rating is 19 degrees with a lower limit of 10. I will say I've used this in the low 20s and it performs just fine. So I feel like that 19 degree comfort rating is fair. Like it would change, you know, if it's windy, if it's this, if it's that, it's whatever. Stuff is subject to change. But if you just have like a really thin base layer on, low 20s, 19 degrees, like you're honestly good to go. This one does take a second to get lofted up. But at the end of the day, it's just your basic sleeping bag. This is a right-hand zip. I think Snugpak offers their sleeping bags sometimes, like where you can order a left-hand or right-hand zip. I don't quite remember that, to be honest with you. But this has their Softy Premier fill-in and Reflectotherm. So the Reflectotherm is something that is actually noticeable in the insulation when you get in the bag. It's kind of hard to describe, but it's like there's tiny little reflective things added in the insulation, like a Mylar space blanket type of deal. And you do feel your body heat kind of radiating back towards you pretty quickly, especially if you have like a thin base layer or no base layer at all on. The only thing, so like some criticisms about Snugpak sleeping bags, or you know, the ones that I've used, is they do have pretty finicky zippers. It is kind of easy. This lighter weight material here, it can be easy to get that material snagged up in there, so you by no means have any type of a quick escape style zipper on these. Zipping it up, you know, you're normally good to go, like once you're in there. And the zipper does operate smoother from the inside. So, you know, it's not like something where you're going to get in this and you're going to feel trapped, like you can't get the zipper open, but, you know, just a little criticism there to point out. And then the inside of this bag is this really, like, just extremely soft material. It's almost like, it's not exactly a micro fleece fill-in, but that's like the closest thing I can think to compare it to. But then I do have a slight criticism with that as well. This material, it's been really tough. So it's like the picking that you feel, I don't think is really much of a problem. But like for me, I have calluses on my hand. Like this material will just take and like stick to the calluses on my hand and like just catch it. Like that's how fine that the material is. So if you have any type of Velcro or just items on your clothing you're getting in with, it will kind of catch up on this material. And I feel like potentially over time, that could cause a problem if you're wearing the same type of clothing or items and you're getting in and snagging the same areas over and over again. But I've not experienced. It's not that this is a weak material. It just kind of has, you know, those attributes to it. But it is heavenly to sleep in, especially if you're just going skin-on-skin contact with that material. And then one of my favorite features about this bag is the reinforced boot box. That's what I'm calling it. Down here at the bottom, so that you can get in this with your boots on and you don't got to worry about your boots messing up this material, because like obviously the rubber and all that stuff. Plus this also helps keep your sleeping bag a bit cleaner, because I'm assuming that this is pretty water resistant, maybe even waterproof, so that would you know, if your boots are a bit wet, a bit muddy, it's not going to soak into the insulation. So again, really solid bag to use. And here we go, the last sleeping bag. Feels like this video was never going to come to an end. But this is the Vertex Montana bag. Now, if you've been around, you guys know that I just absolutely love these Vertex sleeping bags. They're based off a European military sleeping bag design, and the equivalent, if you ordered new of those other sleeping bags, is normally going to be $250, $300, and these tend to come in anywhere between like $100 and $150, which is just insane for the quality and everything. And none of this is like this video. None about this video is sponsored or anything. This is just my honest opinion and like what I've used. But this is like hands down one of my favorite sleeping bags out of all of these. So yeah, center zip, I mean, as you'll see, it's pretty much the exact same design and style as that British bag, that AK Max bag, and any of those other center style zippered bags that you'll see. This outer material is pretty dang water repellent. Like even though it is on, like it's thin, I believe it's polyamide. I think that's what it's called. But like this thing would take and shed some like really light misty rain, could definitely handle a dusting of snow. But you got your nice quick open zipper, which is just really nice. You have a very similar feeling, if not identical, type of material here on the inside. You got a nice baffle there, and the zipper is just as smooth to zip up. And you got that large storm flap there that you can put over the center of your zipper to keep stuff from getting in if you got to use this on its own. and then you can just take and cinch it right down in and around your mouth and your nose. This one doesn't feel like it has extra insulation at the foot area. It's pretty uniform all the way through. The feel of it anyways, I could be slightly wrong about that, but I'm pretty positive that there's not any extra insulation at the foot area. This one does have some good shoulder room and stuff in it. Oh yeah, right here it is. So outer shell is 100% polyamide, inner 100% polyamide. Insulation is like the hollow fiber, I think it's like almost a G-Loft style, Primaloft style insulation. I had it fully non-compressed in its stuff sack, but this thing does compress really small. As far as a new purchase bag, if I just had to grab one real quick in a hurry and go in wintertime around here, I would probably grab this one first, just because of the overall versatility of this particular bag. You know, it doesn't have any interior pockets or anything like that, so that is an advantage of the British military version. But this one is a bit lighter, it's warmer, and it packs a wee bit smaller than that British one would. Can definitely give 2 thumbs up for the Vertex bags. Right now I'm in the process of seeing about getting one of their Alaska bags. If we had like a night when it was going to be, you know, like negative wind chill, then I would love to get that thing, like get one of those, get that thing out and see how it is, or have it in case I travel somewhere colder and you know, use it. But that is the last sleeping bag that we have to look at. So there you go, guys. We are sitting behind an absolute mountain of sleeping bags here. But you know, over the few years, I've had a good chance to test out a good number of sleeping bags in cold weather. Cold weather is my favorite time of year to be out and camp. I thought about throwing in some of my favorite, most recommended wool blankets in this video, but this video is already long enough. So we might actually do a separate video covering some like winter wool blankets and things like that. If that's something you're interested in, be sure to let me know in the comments. But that's going to do it for this one, guys. So please make sure to hit that thumbs up button, subscribe if you've not already, share the channel videos with your friends, family, anybody that enjoys good outdoor activities and gear. Again, speaking of the gear, I will have links to each one of these sleeping bags down in the video description, as well as links to some videos at the very top of the description box. If you're on Instagram, make sure to follow the Instagram page, ProCaliber HQ, because I do updates and some behind-the-scenes stuff on there. And then again, make sure to hop in that comment section. Just let me know what you thought of these bags. If you've got any experience with them, with any of these brands, this, that, and the other. But until the next one, adios.